having gone through the whole cycle of building a company from, let's say, 1 or 2 people to managing, multi-location, 100 people, to somebody who's just started out and facing problems, because typically the first 3, 4 years, 5 years, it's just a process of settling down. So what advice to these two different types of, sets of people?
Okay, I just wanted to do away with the word advice, because that just doesn't sound very right, because I don't think I'm big enough, successful enough to advise anybody sitting here. But I can tell people what I have done. And there was this very famous author, and there was a book reading session in Crossword, and somebody asked him, "Sir, I want to become an author, what do I do?" So he gave him a one-word answer. He said, "Write." So I think that's the, so to say, mantra I've lived by. And that's, again, I'm not advising this. These are my observations. As a businessman, you tend to observe. You tend to observe a lot of people, and you tend to learn from them. And you honestly get to learn from the strangest of places. In the sense, I've always believed that the more successful you are, the less you have to teach people. So looking at all the huge industrialists, I honestly do not learn much. I learn a lot from somebody who runs a vada pav center. I love watching these kind of people, because they are the ones who are really struggling. They do not have the resources, they do not have the means, and they're still trying to make ends meet. So I guess, in a word, if I can say what I have done, is, as I said, I have done. A lot of people have a lot of ideas, and they sit on those ideas till they hatch into nothing. And that's, I think, the problem. And I see it happening. It doesn't have to always be in life with people. It happens in offices. It happens in our own office. So people have ideas, and they have ideas, and nothing happens. So if you just take that one step, because these are dialogues I think I have heard a lot of times, and most of you would have as well. I have enough number of friends who still at this age keep saying that they want to start something of their own someday. And I say, okay, you're already 43, the kind of life you're living, 9 to 9, I would give you another 10 years, so when is now? The time is now, so just get up and start something. The fear of failure is what holds most people back, and which is why you don't do. If you don't do, what's going to happen? Nothing will happen. So I guess, in a nutshell, it's always do something. The other thing that I again won't advise anybody here, but because I don't want to advise anybody here, I'm just here for a chat. But there are a lot of students who come to me for advice, for counseling, for guidance, whole lot of things. I meet at least 8 to 10 students every week. And the other thing that really strikes me is that nobody really has the art to stand out. And in a very mediocre society that we live in, and believe me, it's very mediocre, because if everybody is talking about a resource crunch, then honestly, there aren't too many qualified, lucrative people in the market. So all you need to do is create your own identity. Now, again, I don't know how do you do it with your fields, to each his own, but like I asked somebody, I was teaching in this, I just went as a visiting faculty for the master's program in French and at the university for a while. So there's this girl in my class, she spoke Konkani. So I said, wow. I said, do you know what script Konkani is written? He said, no. Now, such people do not inspire anybody. They don't really create their identity. It's that easy. It's my mother tongue. I'm learning languages. So the least I can is at least know a little more about languages. If everybody can become the go-to person in their field, so this is the person you want to go to for anything related to this field, I think this is one of the easiest way to stand out. Something as simple as typing. When I ask people, and again these are ideas, there could be many more, but very few people can touch type. In 2013, I can't, but there's a reason to it, because I wasn't born in the day and age of computers, but still I'm attempting to do it now. You have to unlearn and learn. But students coming out of schools and colleges today, not all of them can touch type. and there's just this one person in our entire office who can touch type, and when he starts typing, people actually stop and start looking at him because he goes at about 70 or 80 words per minute, and the sounds he creates on the keyboard are itself enough to make him very popular in that group. So I guess every business, every professional, somewhere if you can identify what is it that you can use to set yourself apart, to stand out, the same applies to your business. I guess that could be a very useful thing to do.
Okay, great. I think we are probably at a time where we can open up the session to questions from the audience. So, yes.
How you compete with Google kind of? I mean, just
Sorry?
how the Google works actually in translation? What they do? Is it context-wise is wrong or something like that? How it?
No, the only problem with Google is it's free. Anything that's free will give you limited value. So there's a reason why it's free, and Google would be the last company to not charge you for something that's really worth its time. So I guess the way Google functions, it's simple. It's essentially any kind of a software translation is essentially a program. The backend really is nothing more than dictionaries, and you pull out words, you match words. Sometimes there is an algorithm that really defines how you're going to translate things. But language is too difficult a skill to really be encapsulated in a program, because there are too many ifs, thens, ors, buts. Of course, not to say that machine translations aren't a part of the industry. In fact, translation as a profession has a lot more technology than most people can imagine. So, because we work for the IT industry, we work for the engineering industry, we work with tools like Katya, and we work with the IT industry. They have a lot of IT requirements. Essentially would be HTML, XML, HTML files. So translators really need to be aware of technology. It's not like you just write everything on paper and give it to somebody. They can't do much with it. So yeah, there are good machine translations as well. And when the volumes are high, you actually have something known as CAT tools, which are computer-aided translation tools, and machine translations working together with a very senior translator working as an editor and producing a lot more than what an average team would be able to produce. Yes?
That was a really great talk. I can connect you very well because I was a part of a localization team in my earlier company, and actually I was a coordinator and a localization engineer, where we used to closely deal with all those translators. In the context part that you told, we very much experienced that. I have two questions in terms of entrepreneurship. In your early days, how you could reach to the customers? That was the first, and the second one is the costing part. How could you cost your services? Based on what parameters?
Okay. Very basic, very raw. So you go up Jolly Maker Chambers, last floor, and you start coming down the stairs. So essentially any company that you see, you get in if they allow you to. Usually they used to, because you didn't have access control back then, so you had doors open. So you just walk into companies and say, okay, we have something. The more you could walk into, the greater the chance that you would find something. And we have done that in probably every single building in Mumbai, that part of Mumbai, especially the Maker Chambers and all of that. Pune, it was again the same. You start from COEP and start going towards Mumbai, and then you stop at every gate and you say, want to meet somebody, you're doing something like that. It wasn't so difficult because, of course, it's not like they invited me inside and offered a cup of tea or something, but at least they were not as rude as they would be today. The most they did was not let you in, but that was okay. You win some, you lose some. So getting clients was something that happened that way. You essentially had to reach people, go to that company and say, you're doing something like this, do you need our services? And it's not like it was something that caught on very quickly. It took time, And the only good part was I did my post graduation in international